Okay, so welcome back. This is the part two to the box template. So obviously we've made our measurements now, and what I've done is just I've imported them, taking cell phone photo of them, and just popping it into my Illustrator program. That's a pretty simple process just by going in and placing just like we did for the box when we first took the photo. So what I'm going to do first here is I'm just going to review a few of my measurements, and I'm going to see where I am currently with the template that I created. Now, whenever you do start working on a template, always make sure that the same orientation or flip or anything like that, make sure those are accurate before going ahead and starting to apply your measurements. You could find yourself being halfway finished and then realizing you may have flipped it. So just to double check that first and make sure that you're all on the same page. Okay, so the first thing I'm doing is I'm going through and ungrouping everything now, and I am now selecting the center row of boxes. And if you look at my measurement, my size here, um, I am way off from what I need to be. So in my transform palette, I'm going to go to the height, and I'm going to go ahead and enter in 12 inches because that's what I remember my template showing me when I first began. And if you can take a look here, there's my 12 inches. So now that I've gotten my template fairly down to the right size, I am going to go ahead and start. Um, okay, so we're going to go ahead and verify some measurements based off of where we're at in the template here. So I'm looking for some commonalities. Like I'm seeing this 1 1/8 in a lot of places, and I want to make sure that I see how that applies to my template and where I need to start applying these different dimensions. So first things first though, I'm going to start at the top, and I'm checking the dimensions based off of what I actually measured and what the computer, the actual drawing that I made, and seeing how that is actually applying to what it is that I'm working on. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at my calculations here, and just making sure that I am putting in the right decimal point in that whole um, in the whole setup there, just to make sure, even though I probably do this on a daily basis, I always am double checking to make sure that my dimensions and the dimensions that I've been told or I'm working with is something correct. So obviously made a little bit of a boo-boo there. I went ahead and started with 1 1/8, but what I really needed to do was work with 7/8. So I already figured that out. Now I'm going to pop that into the system here. All right, save that. Get that to stick. 0.875. All right, now we're on the right track here. Now our measurements look like they need to be. So I'm looking to see what else I need to apply to this. Looks like 1 1/8 is actually what I need to do for the height. So I'm gonna apply that dimension now. Okay, and now that is settled. So now I got uh, that tab figured out. Now I'm going to move on to the box. And again, I'm referencing what I measured, 4 7/8 there. So I'm going to go ahead and apply those dimensions to what I currently have. So actually, I'm going to do that to all of the dimensions because they all have the same measurement. So I'm going to verify what that 7/8 is one more time. 0.875. So I'm gonna make sure I apply that correctly when I put the 4 in here. 0.875 and hit enter. Now I've applied that, and now you can see my boxes have gotten a little bit wider. Um, Honestly, not as dramatic as you might think. I'm going to apply a group to the two outer edges now, and a group to the center now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a horizontal spacing to 0 to all three objects. So I'm I'm gonna highlight them all, select the middle object as my base point, and then click on my distribute spacing at 0 horizontally. That's going to keep everything accurate and keep everything lined up to where they need to be. Obviously, I left that tab off there at the top, but we're going to go ahead and just take a look and see how everything else applied. Looks great. I'm going to go ahead and now ungroup where I was, and now I'm going to duplicate this and apply it to the other side. Now I'm going to ungroup this side as well, and then go ahead and apply that tab that I already took the time to measure and correctly place. So now I'm just replicating the same thing I did and applying the mirror option in our rotated mirror tools. And then we're going to go ahead and align everything up based on this top piece here. First of all, I have to ungroup everything. I like grouping objects because it helps me keep the kind of the chaos of Illustrator sometimes can give you. So you know certain groups are not going to be left out as you're applying your different methods. If you find that my methods may be, a little long-winded, or maybe they don't cover everything you would like to see, then that's something that, as you develop these tools and the way that you apply them, that will help because you can then create your own what's called a job kind of accuracy, the way your workflow actually goes through a project. So, I'm going to go ahead and keep going down these tools here, applying the dimensions for each piece as I go through it. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward a bit here just to kind of move it along, and we'll see you when I get down to the end of this, and we'll discuss a little bit more about what I did. Okay, so I wanted to stop specifically at this point to kind of explain what my thought process behind this tab was. So when you're looking at it, as you can see, my drawing wasn't as precise on the actual ways this looked. Now, sometimes you have to work with that, sometimes you don't. But right now, I want to see what this looks like with a clean degreed angle ending in the places where it needs to be. So my first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the 1/8 inch in as a block. Just grabbing my rectangle tool and using that, confirming my measurements here for the 16th, which is 0.0625. I'm going to go ahead and put that in right now as well. And now the two of these together are what's really going to make basically another template for me to accurately make the cut or the angle I need to make for this piece. What I'm doing now is I'm aligning these two blocks to the outer edges of the shape, and then going ahead and leveling those two out to each other. This way I can make a perfected grid. And now I'm going to make both of these objects. I'm going to go ahead and select them. But first we're going to look at this from the angles that I need to use this for. So I'll be going, first I'm going to lock this in place. Lock selection, that's Apple 2 or Control 2. Now, the way the angle needs to happen is it doesn't need to be straight on the edge, but it comes up to the very bottom or of the top left of the larger square, like just like a triangle. And then that way you now can align that to the piece itself. Now, for any reason you have any issues when you're getting into this stage, aligning and straightening to the point of uh, lining it all up is probably the best thing you can do to keep everything consistent. All right, so I'm doing a little bit of a tricky thing here. I'm taking the tab and I'm actually adding some more shape to it. So now when I take out that shape, it's going to actually be a perfected edge like that. So that is now a clean edge from going from 1/8 of an inch to a 1/16. And now I can remove that guide, and now the edge is pretty clean. It looks really nice. I think it's going to work out great. So now I can go ahead and apply this to the other side. So if you need some more explanation on that, feel free to let me know in the comment section.